Okay, everybody. Bit of please.
Gentlemen, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, sorry about the delay.
Quiet.
Quiet, please. Sorry about the delay. We've been waiting for Steve. We've been waiting for Steve Squire to turn up, the London organiser.
Has he turned up?
Yes, he's here. But before we start, Cliff LeMay, our branch chairman, sends his apologies. He can't make it tonight. Unfortunately, he's got to work. He says sorry, but it's one of those things. He needs the money. Okay. Can you, everybody just please turn their mobile phones off, please? For those that don't know me, my name's John Clark. I'm the Croydon and Sutton organiser, and I'm going to be chairing it tonight. And I'm just going to go through the agenda. I'm going to do like a little talk about what we've been doing in the party and what's been going on, and what the branch has been doing basically, and our future plans. And then Steve Squire is going to be doing a little talk about our new chairman and what's going on in head office. And then Dave is going to do like a financial report. And then we're going to have a short 15-minute break where we'll be selling, doing a collection and selling more raffle tickets if you want to buy any. Also, Claire's selling key rings for £2. They're really good key rings, anti-immigration ones, that sort of thing. It's really good. And then after the break, we've got the great Richard Edmonds speaking. He's a veteran nationalist, been around for long time. And then what we do, we'll announce the raffle, announce the collection. Okay? So, I know that's what we do. Okay. Right, I've got to announce with regret. One of our ladies passed away a few months ago. I don't know if you know her, Marie Hughes. She used to be around about 4 years ago, and she was quite an old lady, but used to come out leafleting with us and do tables, top stools, everything like that with us. She was a really hard-working lady, even though she was getting on, you know. She was brilliant. And unfortunately, she passed away a few months ago. She's an inspiration to all of us. And I like us all to stand up and have a minute's silence for her, please. Right, thank you very much. Now, the party's got a new chairman, Adam Walker. I don't know too much about it because I wasn't at the meeting, executive meeting, but apparently Nick stepped down and Adam took over now. I'm friends with them both. Adam's going to bring a few new ideas to the party, and we'll see what happens. You know, there's going to be a leadership election next year, and everybody who's been in the party for 5 or more years can stand for the election for the party chairman. So we'll see what happens next year. Whether Nick might stand, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but he's still got a lot of support. But I'm sure Adam will do very well. Right, okay. Local and European elections. We didn't do quite as well as expected. Where we had all our candidates, we did have a lot of UKIP standing. And they sort of took a lot of our votes, really. They were hyped up in the media as usual. Took a lot of our votes, but where we did stand, and when there weren't many UKIP candidates, we did do very well. Like, for instance, in Heathfield was our best result. It was Michael Collard, and it's a free council ward. And we had one candidate, and UKIP had one candidate, and we've got like, I think we've got about 350 votes. I mean, that's our best result, really. It was a lot. It was down by quite a bit. I think we got 500 last time, but we did okay, and we just got to plod on, really, and wait to UKIP burn themselves out, because they're not true nationalist parties like what we are. But we've just got to do that and just wait, really. Right. But straight after the election, we didn't have time to sort of have a rest, because we got straight into our anti-mosque campaign. In the advertiser, it was saying that there's going to be they're looking to put a mosque in New Addington. It's from a sect called the Ahmadiyya sect. Straight away, we're there campaigning against that, and we've done really, really well. We've got, well, it's nearly 2,000 signatures now. And we've got loads and loads of support. You know, Cliff's been brilliant. Unfortunately, he's not here tonight, but he could tell you a lot more about this. But we've gone door to door, and we've had paper sales, where we sold them BNP paper, and then we've asked them, do you want to sign a petition? And 9 out of 10 times, probably 99% of the time, they do. And we've had them 3 or 4 deep, just signing our petition. And what we did, that was the first stage to gauge opinion. And then what we did, we booked the ACA. It's a community centre in New Addington, and we booked the largest room, which can hold 300 people. They're okay with that, the people that run that. But it's owned by the council, and it's booked as a public meeting. So it is a public meeting. It wasn't a BNP meeting. It's a public meeting because the public were involved. Were invited. The people that that signed our petition. So it wasn't really political. But Croydon Council heard about it. They said it was political, even though it was a discussion about a mosque we proposed to be built in New Addington, and they banned it basically. They told us that we can't have it because that's being racist, you know, just because we want to ban a mosque. But we've got Africans signing it, we've got Asians signing our petition, and we even had a couple of Muslims signing it because they don't want this Ahmadiyya sect there because they say that they're bad news. But what happened is Conservatives and Labour straight away were against us from the word go. They okay, mate. Yeah, the Labour and Conservatives were totally against us, and they said we were racist, and they see nothing wrong in having a mosque in New Addington, even though they make up a tiny percentage of Muslims in New Addington. But that's their view. Gavin Barwer quoted the MP for Croydon Central. He quoted, in theory, I don't think there's nothing wrong with a mosque in New Addington. Well, how would he like it in his place?
Exactly.
So anyway, the meeting did go ahead, and it was brilliant. Cliff spoke, and Richard spoke. Very well received, and what we've done, we filmed it, and we have, I don't know, anybody on the internet can watch it, because we've got like a Croydon Sutton blog. It's www.croydonsuttonpatriots.solo WordPress, yeah.
I'll put some leaflets to give out.
Dave's got a load of
The address on it to give
leaflets
out.
to give out about that. So it's definitely worth watching. It's about an hour long, and it's brilliant. Okay, I want to go through like the papers. This is some of the headlines that are getting in New Addington. BNP off, just because we want to have a talk about a mosque. I don't know if you can all see that.
Who's the picture, John?
That's a bad picture of me.
I took it.
Yeah, Dave took that, but I don't know how they got it. I don't know, but it's a really bad picture of me. And that's a good bit of publicity we got. But the best bit we got is a very good picture of Cliff, our branch chairman. And it's given us. It was fairly okay, but they do quote the Muslims as well and Croydon Council. But that's a good picture of Cliff, looking very stern there, but it's not.
He could run for Prime Minister. Right?
Yeah, he looks like he should be a Prime Minister. But,
The new statesman.
he's a new statesman. But yeah, that was really good. We've also got some really good letters written by residents of New Addington saying, well, why shouldn't BNP be allowed to organise a meeting about an issue that concerns the residents? We've had a few letters like that, but we've got a really good response in New Addington. You know, everybody says they're against it, even other Asians and Africans and Afro-Caribbeans. But this is going a bit tangent. This is what happened. You know, we're heading in London. That was at Edmonton. Edmonton, another heading in London. Terrible state of affairs. It was an Italian woman, very staunch Catholic, I've read, and I think he just picked on her just because she was a Christian, basically. Then we have.
Was he a Muslim convert, wasn't he?
He was a Muslim convert, yeah.
Yeah, they think it's alright to kill anyone as long as they're not Muslim. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Well, yeah, this is
That's
it.
the thing.
But the thing is, he picked on an old lady, mate. I mean, she was 80, she's about 87. 87,
Something like that.
They're
disgusting.
called Kafirs, isn't it? Kafir
Yeah.
believers.
That's what we are, kafar.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what we
that's
are.
right,
That's what
yeah.
they call us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And all they do is kill the weak of us. They don't kill the strong of us. If
Kill
you
the
walk
weak.
through the street, they're not going to start on you, but they'll start at the disabled man.
Oh, yeah.
They'll cut his throat. That's
And then we've got.
That's why they run down the,
Yeah, one minute you played.
the army guy. Because they've got him out of the way there.
it. That's it. Put one of the strong out of the way. That's it.
Also, what happened at Notting Hill Carnival, apart from the normal stabbings and arrests like there is every year, a woman got grubbed up by an African. She complained about it, He punched her in the face and basically smashed her nose.
Oh no.
That's a terrible thing, but that should be banned. If anything like that happened at any other festival or a rock festival, anything like that, they would ban it. This is a bit of really local news. The town hall is only just up there, and we got the former leader of the opposition. Sorry, the former leader of the Conservatives, Mike Fisher, is now the opposition leader. He's awarded himself £11,000 pay rise.
Shame.
The shame of it. The shame of these people. Yeah, £11,000 pay rise.
What, cutting back on the disabled?
That's disgusting, mate, isn't it?
Yeah.
The rest of the councillors, to their credit, didn't take a pay rise. And council workers only got 1%. And this man, Mike Fisher, he's on. Yeah, he's on. What's it? Oh, it's on 62,000 a year now.
As well as the 11,000.
No, that's including 11,000. He's on 62,000. It's unbelievable. The shame of it is like the pay shame. Right. Okay, we've got upcoming events. Now we're trying to organise at this very moment. We'll probably over the weekend. Me and Clifford will be trying to organise another Lunar House demo. Last time we had was really successful. There's about 50 or 60 of us that turned up. Got a lot of publicity out of it, and we showed that we're still around. But this is going to be like we're going to try and do this as a pan-nationalist thing, so all other nationalist parties are welcome. Also, what we want to do on this Saturday, we're going to carry on our leafleting, and what we're doing, we're giving out our blog address. We're just attaching it to a BNP leaflet, and we're giving all that out. And that's what we've been doing for the last few weeks. We're going around all the people that signed the petition and gradually working through them. And we're almost finished. We've got a few hundred left. So that's what we're going to do. We want people to see the meeting, the anti-mosque meeting that we had, because I think they find it very interesting what Cliff and Richard had to say. Also, Kevin, do you want to say a few words about your... Oh, you want to do it at the end, okay. Okay, you can do it at the end. Okay, I want to hand you over to Steve Squire now.
Right, thanks all for coming. Nice venue, lads. And Croydon branch is doing very well, making us proud, showing that people care in the community. And it's only the BNP that care in this community, nobody else. People know it. And you can see the other parties coming out and showing what they're about and who they support. And we've got to keep making them, drawing them out to spread the poison so our people see it, so they reject them. Because our democracy has become so repugnant with these politicians that even the Scottish want to leave now. And I think they will leave. And I don't blame them for that.
Even me, I don't blame them one bit.
No, as I say, it'd probably save England if they do as well.
Well, absolutely.
But it's, so I wish the Scottish well, but we've got a new leader.
Yeah.
A weight has been lifted off of my shoulders, I know that. It's good to see people here that haven't been around for a while, and it's very positive what's happening in the party. A lot of people are coming back and joining, and you know, it's quite good. The usual I can tell you exactly what happened. You probably know there was an EC meeting, and Mr. Griffin was faced with a vote of no confidence or resign. So he decided to resign. And that's how it's done. The EC did that, and it's the same with my position. I'm elected, unique position that is, first London organiser I think that have been elected. I can't be pushed out by a chairman, but I can be a vote of no confidence on the EC to get rid of me. Then you can sort of like vote me back in again if you want, I suppose. So that's good. No one thought we'd be able to do that. They thought it was a load of boneheads who would all fight and argue and squabble and everything else, you know. Those days are over, hopefully. But the negative, I took a phone call from a so-called journalist. And I was talking to her about it, and she was from The Guardian. And straight away she came out with he's banned from teaching now. I said, who's banned from teaching? She said, your leader's banned from teaching. And this is what people will say. They'll say that our leader is banned from teaching. Well, he's not banned from teaching. Think about it. When you get skills throughout your life, nobody can take those skills away from you. Whether you're a carpenter or a journalist or or a broadcaster, if you work, as I explained to the lady, if you get the sack from The Guardian, that's not your career over as a journalist, is it? Or the BBC, is it? It's not you're not finished. You go and work for Sky. So Adam Walker's not banned from teaching. Nobody can take them skills off of him. This is a global world. He can teach in America. He can teach anywhere in Europe. He just doesn't work for the state education system. He's now in private education. And he was teaching yesterday. So that's a little smear that they want to demoralise us with and our people. That, he's something, because he's not that. He just got the sack. And it was a political, motivated sack. And we all know that. So, don't stand for any of that. You know what to say now. And there's a little bit of debate going on the internet at the moment about this, some little bitching going on. A document. I was given a document 3 weeks ago. I just deleted it. That Mr. Griffin has started to put around. I think Mr. Griffin is missing the job. He's at loose end, and he's trying to sort of like build something up, get some propaganda going, so he can get himself back in a position. It's not going to happen. And that document, if you read that document, you come across it on the internet, it does show how far away we've moved away from those days now. That's in the past, that Mr. Griffin stuff. Hopefully he won't put himself forward for an election in the next party election, the leader next year. But so if you do read any of that stuff, take it for what it is. All the issues on it have been addressed. Alwyn has had his severance pay, and he's working as the elections officer, and all his financial commitments have been taken over by the party. Angus has had his redundancy, he's got a new job. Jen is on maternity leave and getting her maternity, and the money place has been closed to the surplus. So we're moving forward. We just mustn't be distracted, because this is what it's meant to do, distract us and get us all bickering. And it shouldn't be happening. I don't think that anybody here has anyone got any questions about anything they want to ask me?
I'm sorry to lose position.
Oh, yeah,
I saw him in number 10, but he didn't visualise.
Oh, no, I mean, he did a big innings for the party. It doesn't make any difference to me who's the leader of the party as long as he's appointed correctly. I'll do the job. And I've always said that. And a lot of people in the past have you know, said I'm this and said I'm that and everything else. But, you know, as I say, we're on another leader.
This is sad.
Well, I mean, there was various issues about the results, things that have been said, general performance, lack of discipline, etc. I mean, you know, and certain regions, their members, you know, wanted the head, wanted his head.
He was an upfront guy. I mean, look at Westminster when you were there, Tom.
Yeah, he was an asset. He was.
You were there, Carlos.
Yeah.
You remember on that day we had thousands on us, and how many of us? Not 100 of us.
No one can take it away from him.
And he stood there, didn't he, Donna? And he did his speech in front of them all.
That's
and
right.
What did the Lord do? The Lord, who were they with, Donna? They were with us. They stood and turned against them.
Well, the reason he done that speech was because he was the leader of the party. That was the only reason he done it for.
But he is a good man.
He served the party well. In my opinion, he's an asset to nationalism. Other people have a different opinion, and you know.
I mean, I've met Adam Walker as well, and he's the number one guy. He's a straight up
Adam
guy.
Walker's going to be good for us.
But I still think we need Nick.
Nick's around.
Yeah, we need
Yeah, Nick is around. Nick is around, but he's also got to be given. You know, Adam's got to be allowed to run forward. That's why, you know, Nick's not hasn't got the access to the party assets that he
They've
used to
done him on
have.
his money. They've tried to put him in prison. They've done all sorts to him. He's a bit like.
But he wasn't. He did step aside.
Yeah.
He did step aside. Who knows? He may have won that vote of no confidence. We'll never know. But he didn't want to take a chance, and he stepped aside, did the honourable thing. So, you know, there's no one can say that he was bullied or whatever, you know, because that's the way the party, the constitution works. That's right. That's the way the party constitution works.
What do you think Nick will stand next year?
I've got no idea. I mean, I haven't spoken to Nick. I mean, you know, I never used to speak to Nick very much. People used to think that I was sort of like down the phone reporting to Nick, you know. I never used to speak to him from 1 month to the next. So, I mean, I haven't spoken to him since he left. I've had the odd text, you know. I'm not interested, you know. I'm only interested in London. That's it for me.
I think that the last year and a few years before, I think there should be a learning curve for everyone in this room. And we have people who left the party and stood as independent or joined the National Front, and then the National Front also had its own problems inside. The one concept that we need to have is that the main competition is not against ourselves or each other. The one concept we need to make it enter into our brains is that our divisions only help the opposition. And the other thing you need to be reminded of is that all our opponents have existed for centuries, some of them. And they have the experience of centuries, and they were in power for centuries. The one thing you need is patience. Nothing is going to come to you overnight. No brilliant electoral result that can be overturned at the next election will do the trick. The issue is here. It's not National Front. It's not British Democrats. It's not English Democrats. It's not Britain First. It's not BNP. The issue is here one party that can join every single one of you under the same flag. You are going to die. Just 1 minute ago, just a few minutes ago, we made a minute of silence for somebody who stood with us along the way, very difficult time, and did her job, and she passed away. And you are going to pass away, and you are finished. You are not forever. So the one thing that needs to survive is not you, it's the party.
Well, the party will survive because, you know, it's got good people in it. And, you know, as I say, people really have a rest and they come back and, you know, and it goes on and it still goes on and new people join all the time, so it's an organic thing. But, oh yeah, all this unit stuff's great. As long as they're all unified at BNP, I'll be happy. You know, and I don't, you know, that's all I'm interested in. But as regards anything party-wise, chairman, anything, anybody got any more questions they want to ask? No? That's okay then.
Was Lynn Moser, was she at school?
No. No, she gave up the RO's job to somebody else. Probably she's still doing the radio, don't we know? Who knows who goes in the South East. But anyway, let's...
Will the new BNP leader come up to Croydon?
Yeah,
Do a speech
he
up
was in
here?
Bolton last night, he will
Right.
come up.
Yeah.
We've only got to get it organised of where we're going to have it. Whether it's going to be over South East London or South West
Obviously,
London.
we like to hear what he's got to say of now, where he's going to take this party
Yeah,
forward.
I
and
mean, you
what he's
enjoy
gonna
them.
do.
You
Yeah.
have them
Yeah.
do stuff. Anyway, I'll pass you back to John.
Thank you, Steve. We've got now is Dave Clark is going to do like a financial report for us and tell us about our branch finances and how much our elections cost us.
Good evening, mate. Gents, fellow nationalists. So my name's Dave Clark, I'm from Croydon, Sutton, about 2 years now. Anyway, everyone knows that elections are not a dear thing. You know, they're pretty dear stuff. But why stand elections? You need to stand elections, otherwise what's the point of having a party? You know, so for the European elections, it cost us £1,100. We had post office people like delivering leaflets to the following areas, which are Central Croydon, Croydon South, Carshalton and Wallington, and Sutton and Sheen. And I say that cost us £1,100. Well, we didn't deliver the leaflets ourselves, the postman done it, but it's still a lot of money. We also spent £390 on our council election leaflets. That's in New Edmonton and Phil Way. Right, since our last election, so this last meeting on the 22nd of May, which was election day, I've banked for the party 260 quid. Then we've also been doing our stalls, paper stalls and donations. We've raised £266.17 on our stalls, you know. At the moment now, in Croydon Sutton petty cash, we've got £50.86, and in our Croydon account, we've got £140.71. You know, it's not a lot of money. We do need money. I hope you do dig deep in your wallets, your purses. Just saying about our blog, I've got little leaflets here advertising our blog. You know, anyone's welcome to them. Also, we've got course free sale, like, and Croydon and Sutton branch are in it. We did make it. Doing our paper store there, like, you know, that's where we raise the money. Like each week, well, even during the week, sometimes the marketing days in New Edmonton, we've been up this market and we've been collecting signatures. People putting money in the bucket, you know, and I've been giving them old copies of what's the free, like, you know. It's gone down the trade, like, you know, we're getting into like our community. It's a good thing to do, we've got to do it, mate. Claire, you're selling catering to and that's me.
Well done, Dave.
So we'll have a short break now for 15 minutes, and then we've got Richard speaking. So it should be really good. We're going to have a really interesting speech, I'm sure we are. Okay, I think everybody, we don't get this video for free.
There we are! Things about to start!
It's about to start, please.
Try to blame Harold for what they're doing to the equipment.
Right, we've got our main speaker coming on now. He's a veteran nationalist and been around for a long time, done a lot of good work. I'd like to have a big Croydon and Sutton welcome for the great Mr. Richard Edmonds.
Yes!
Thank you, John. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, fellow nationalists. Thank you for the invitation to speak here this evening. A good turnout, well done to all of you.
Hey.
Listen, this movement was set up to safeguard the British people and their British way of life. For years and years and years, we have been the voice warning the British people because the dangers and the threats are everywhere. You've only got to walk down past West Croydon Station, down the London Road there, and you would think that you was in some alien location the other side of the world. You'd think you was in Timbuktu, Central Africa. You might think you was in Kabul, Afghanistan. You'd think you was anywhere but in Britain. We have been utterly betrayed, utterly betrayed, utterly betrayed, utterly betrayed. And now the Croydon Advertiser has come out. The Croydon Advertiser, John was showing it to you. The Croydon Advertiser has now come out and revealed the threatening fact that the very, very wealthy Ahmadiyya Muslim group is now looking for and intending setting up yet another mosque, this time in New Addington. This very, very wealthy and very, very powerful group has already got one mosque in Croydon. In addition, it boasts that it owns the largest mosque in Western Europe. That is the huge mosque in South London, on the London Road, Morden. That mosque at Morden, which boasts, owned by this Ahmadiyya group, which boasts is the largest mosque in Western Europe, is built on a 5-acre site and has accommodation for 10,000 Muslim worshippers. 10,000 Muslim worshippers. That is the news in the Croydon Advertiser. Now, the good news is, and there's always, look, in nationalism, there's always good news.
Yeah.
No matter how dark these days are, if we keep together, as earlier speakers have said, if we use our white brain power and our discipline, we will eventually win this struggle, which is why we have all given up this evening and why we've all given up so much time and effort in the past and will continue to devote and invest time and effort in the future, because our people are worth saving and we can lead the way and we can save them. And the good news is that in New Addington, the good folk of New Addington have got there a strong local organised team who've done a lot of work. You've already heard a bit about the work. I'm going to talk about the work because I made a contribution the other month to their work. That is the good fortune of the people of New Addington, that they have got you, campaigning on their behalf. And all strength to you and all credit to this Croydon unit, led by John and brother, and led by David. All credit to you. Because we have been utterly betrayed.
There are dangers everywhere. The politicians, I call them the politician traitor trash. They're traitor trash. Labour politicians, Tory politicians, Liberal politicians, they're all the same. And I call them, and they should be called, traitor trash. The traitor trash of Westminster. Traitor trash. The traitor trash have let so many millions of foreigners into our country, so many millions of foreigners and so many millions of Muslims, that now, across the whole, as an average, across the whole of England and Wales, 10% of the children, 10% of the babies born across the whole of England and Wales are now born to Muslim mothers. 10% across the whole of England and Wales. We're not talking about parts of South London. We're not talking about parts of East London or parts of the West Midlands or parts of Manchester. We're talking across the whole of England and Wales. 10% of those babies are born to Muslim mothers. And now the name Mohammed is the top name for baby boys in England and Wales. The name Mohammed, top name. We've been utterly betrayed by the traitor trash. The traitor trash. Look what they're doing to all of us. Look what they're doing to all of us. The latest horror is this new group that's sprung out of nowhere, absolutely motivated by hatred of us. And that is the group that styles itself the Islamic State. The Islamic State. For those of you who are on the internet, the Islamic State were the ones who last week got hold of 2 Westerners and publicly sawed their heads off. The film, the ghastly film, is on the internet. You can see one white man, Westerners that they had captured and kidnapped over there in the Middle East. They got one. They made a speech. They cut his head off, put it on the internet, boasting about it. Said we're going to do another one next week, another one, boasting and threatening, waving knives around. And the next week, they got another one. They've got a third one lined up. It is believed that the terrorists, they don't do it with a chopper from the back. They cut it like an animal. I think it's called shishishta.
It's like you're still alive when they're doing it.
Yeah. They're still alive.
Well, they did believe.
Yeah, mate.
That's right, what they did to Lee. What they did to Lee. That's what they did.
Unforgivable, mate.
Unforgivable and never be forgotten. Never to be forgotten. And never to be forgotten. Who let those killers into our country? They didn't invade us in some sort of D-Day in reverse action, come storming up BT Head. No, they were let in by the traitor trash. Never forget, the enemy is the traitor trash. The enemy is the traitor trash. When we sufficiently educate the British people that they realise who their enemy is, who set this lot onto us, the traitor trash, then they'll be voted out. I'll just say one word here. I'll go off into a tangent here. Some years back, I was also a member of the British National Party, very proud to be of it. And I'll remind you, never forget, 5 years ago, at the Euros of 5 years ago, the BNP, as I think most of us were members of, 1 million people voted that party. 1 million people voted BNP 5 years ago. And then the following year, at the general election of 2010, because the general election coincided with the local government elections in the same year, May 2010, that party put up 1,000 candidates in one day. Now that shows our potential. That shows our potential. I am aware that we've got problems at the moment, which I have no intention of talking about. I just say this to you. Keep together, as the earlier speakers have said, keep together and use the brains and the discipline, and we will get back with interest. One other final point. None of us here, I think, are friends of UKIP. UKIP is a totally phony party run by some geezer who made a lot of money in the City of London. Anybody who can make a lot of money in the City of London, you've got to be very careful with dealing with people who make a lot of money. Whatever nominal religion they might claim to be. But at the last lot of Euros, the protest vote was so great for UKIP, the protest vote was so great that UKIP, never mind Farage, the people were voting. The people at the last lot of Euros were voting protest. They were voting protest. And UKIP got more votes than the Labour trash. UKIP got more votes than the Tory trash. And UKIP got more votes than the Liberal trash. Now that is a protest vote building up. That is a protest vote building up. And if we play our cards right, as I'm sure we will, with intelligence and discipline, and as Carlos said, persevere, 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 patience, patience, patience. We'll get all that back. We'll get all that back. We'll get all that back. Yes, I was talking about the latest horror. This latest horror, the Islamic State they call themselves. They are now perceived as such a threat that the President of the United States has said he's going to go in there and destroy the Islamic State. In addition, the Prime Minister is saying that he's going to send our forces back again to the Islamic State to destroy them. The Islamic State at the moment, as I'm sure you know from watching the news, is now racing through the whole of the Middle East, principally Iraq and Syria. They're setting up what they call the new caliphate of the Islamic State. They're using the most brutal methods to do so. They're crucifying their opponents, they're terrorising and murdering, they're cutting the heads off of anybody who opposes them, all in the name of Sharia law. All in the name of Sharia law. But it's got to such a state that the Prime Minister is now talking about, planning to send the British forces back to the Middle East to destroy the Islamic State. Well, I will say to you, fellow nationalists, let me get a glass of water. This is doing my... In this multi-racial, multicultural, multi-crime and riot-ravaged Britain, does David Cameron, the Prime Minister, understand that the Islamic State is very much here in Britain and very, very active in Britain? For example, very, very active here in Britain. Last week, the flag of the Islamic State was flying openly in the London Borough of Tower Hamlets, openly flying in the London Borough of Tower Hamlets, amongst the 2 million minimum Muslims let into Britain. There are voices openly calling for Sharia law in Britain, The question arises, does Mr. Cameron even know what's happening in this country? Does he know what's happening in it? A friend of mine was in Oxford Street last week, and witnessed, bold as brass, handing out leaflets in Oxford Street, central London, supporters of the Islamic State, calling openly for Sharia law and calling for the Sharia state to be set up in Britain. So here's the Prime Minister. Does he even know? Does he know what's happening in this country at all? Does he know what's happening in London? Does he know what's happening half a mile away from number 10 Downing Street? Does he know? I will say to you, if Cameron wants to oppose dangerous religious fanatics and madmen who hack people's heads off, he's only got to go to Woolwich and North London, hasn't he, eh? Go to Woolwich and North London. What terminology do you describe? What terminology would you describe the people running this country? Would you call them twerps? Twerps? Twapes, I call twerps. Clueless twerps. They don't know nothing. They know nothing. They live in there, they've got their limousines driven by chauffeurs, they got the whole lot, and they have no idea what's happening to the real Britain, to the real us. Yeah. Which, okay, the real Britain, the real us. So, we campaign amongst the British people. We campaign. And if I can say a word to John here and his team, there's a general election coming. I do hope that when the general election comes, that that you contest Croydon Central at the election. Definitely, I'm very, very pleased to hear that, because when you read this Croydon Advertiser, they say that this very, very wealthy Muslim group, the Ahmadiyya group, which you spoke about, John, have got plans, it's all in here, to set up at least one mosque, maybe several mosques, right across Addington Village, New Addington, Shirley and South Croydon. So when you put your candidate up in Croydon Central, tell the local people you are all under threat. This mosque or mosque could come anywhere in your area. And I tell you something else, which John and I discussed about a week ago. We exchanged emails. This group, Ahmadiyya group, is not only fantastically wealthy, but they can build the biggest mosque in Western Europe at Morden. About a month ago, this group, Ahmadiyya group, had what they called a global village. They own a farm in Hampshire, and they organised a weekend-long rally of 30,000. We spoke about it, right? 30,000 of their supporters piled in to this little farm which they bought. They spent the weekend there, and then they linked up and called their little village in Hampshire, they called it a global village, because they simultaneously linked up with their partisans, their supporters right across the world. So they have got money and they have got numbers, and that should be pointed out at the general elections. I would just say, John, that you made a very, very good start. This is the leaflet, a very good leaflet, which John and his team put out. No mosque here in No Addington. You made a very good start. That public meeting you organised was very, very good. The public came out, they supported you. You even made a film, which is on the internet somewhere, all there. And the 2,000 signatures, listen, it was very, very good. And I'm going to make a point here myself on this local paper, because I'll make this point. Here's the local Croydon Advertiser. He's talking about the BNP campaign against the mosque. Yeah? So here's the headline: BNP campaign against the mosque. So that's it. The BNP, there it is. Everybody knows who's campaigning against this mosque. And there, as John said, a very, very handsome photograph of the local organiser, Cliff LeMay. Now, as John said, they've got umpteen photographs of us, and they can make us look smart, or they can make us look the opposite of smart. And there is Cliff, looking strong and handsome and very smart. And true. And I tell you,
he's our parliamentary candidate.
He's
going to be a number 10 one.
He's the candidate, your candidate. And I'll tell you this, from years of experience in this business, I know that when a local paper gives your man, our man, such a good, or woman, such a good photograph, they do it for one reason only. They know that you're on the side of the community, and the community's on your side. And by the way, yes, the mosque, the Labour Party, the Tory Party, they want the mosque. They want the mosque. Eh? Surprise about that. So, because they're trash and they're traitors. Because the Lib-Lab and Con, the Labour trash, the Tory trash, and the Liberal trash, they've got no faith in the British people. Well, I think they've made a big mistake there. Because we are still the same people we've always been, and we're going to come back via this politics. We're going to come back, and that photograph in itself, when I saw that, I think as John or Cliff said, Richard, they phoned me up, you know. Phone me up every now and again of a friendly chat. We have friendly chat. They said, you've got to rush down to Morrison's, that's my supermarket, and get the local Croydon Advertiser, because we're all in there. And there it is. When I saw that photograph, I understood the significance of the photograph. So, the general election's coming. The general election is the time to expose and oppose the traitor trash. You've got the community with you now. I would suggest, John, to your committee, that you make the mosque the central issue. It is what I have been. I'll go a bit tangent here, but I happen to live in the London Borough of Sutton, and a bit further over in Worcester Park, the Muslims want a mosque over there. Worcester Park's a very British, white part of the world, and it's so nice they want to move in and they want to establish their mosque and take the town over. There has been tremendous opposition in Worcester Park. 4,000 people signed the petition against the mosque. I attended a public meeting, which was absolutely crowded. Hundreds of people turned up, and they let the councillors know that they didn't want a mosque in Worcester Park. The Muslims appealed, and it was turned again down by the council. And then, in their wickedness, the government, the Tory government, the Liberal Democrat government, gave the Muslims an opportunity to have a third appeal. So there's now a third appeal going on now. But the people don't want it. And they don't want it in Worcester Park, and they don't want it in New Addington. And John, this paper makes clear, you are their champions. You are the only ones speaking up for them. And listen, best of luck to all of you, all right? Best of luck. Thanks a lot.